Alright, so today it's Ashley's birthday. This is right there. Got Dakota, got Joel. Joel's my brother-in-law, Ashley's brother. Today we're building, you can see all the supplies here. We're building a chicken coop. And we had the wood delivered, I don't know, a couple days ago. And a couple days before that, we had all of this cleared out. Ashley and I cleared it out with a weed whacker, and then all the grass that we got off, because it was as tall as all that over there, we had to haul out to the back area. It was such a pain, but we got it done. So before we start, I just want to say thanks to Colin of, this is the real name of the store, Dick's Lumber, for helping me out with the package that we're throwing the coop together with. They had it delivered here, and they brought it all the way to this back section, which was pretty nice of them. So yeah, thanks Colin, and thanks to, I don't know what the guy's name was who dropped it off, but yeah, the whole company seems pretty cool. So yeah, they didn't give it to me for free, but they gave it to me for not very much. Anyways, we're gonna get it done, because the chickens are ready to be housed together, the new chickens and the old chickens. The coop's gonna be way bigger than needed for 4 chickens, but we plan to get more chickens in the future. So we've already broken up everything. It came in one big stack, obviously, and we're gonna do a layout here just so we can see how big it's gonna be. We plan for it to be 8 by 12 ish, minus whatever the walls are gonna be. So the outside dimensions are 8 by 12. Basically gonna frame it like you'd frame any sort of like shed package. I'm not sure if chicken coops are supposed to be built a certain way, but what we're doing should be good. In fact, we're probably gonna over-engineer it a bit even. Okay, so basically what we're doing here is we squared our deck with 2 tape measures. You kind of cross them. I didn't show that, but you cross them, you get them, because when you make your ladder box or whatever, it's going to be a little skewed. So you take 2 tape measures and then you put it back to where it is. And then with this type of small box here, you can actually just square it with the plywood. And the reason why we're using plywood on, that's this or not subfloor here, is because this is actually the bottom. This is not plywood either, it's OSB, but we're using this as a bottom. And right now Dakota is cutting out what we're going to use as that's the template. He's going to cut that out, and that's what our stilts are going to go into. The reason why we're doing OSB on the bottom is because we're putting insulation in here. All that insulation came free from other jobs I've done, and from my in-laws as well. So all of that is going to be packed into here. So this is actually the bottom. We're going to turn it around, and then we're going to put this subfloor on the side that you actually walk on. I just don't want the mice getting into that, because they love the cotton candy style insulation for winter and stuff, because it's nice and warm, of course. So basically we're going to cut those squares out so that we can slide in our stilts, and adjust those to whatever height we need them, because this ground is all uneven and we're not going to grade it or anything. It's just going to be as is. So that's basically what we're doing here.
Hey, it's me in the future. I just realized I forgot to explain something in the video, and hopefully this will clear up anyone's understanding of how you are supposed to lay sheets on a ladder box of usually any sort. Now in the video you saw me run my sheets parallel with the joist in my ladder box. So I had the length of my sheet goods go with the length of my joist, instead of how you would normally do it is going perpendicular. So the length of your sheet good goes against the length of your joist. The reason why you would not do this method and do this method instead is because this is a lot more structurally sound. So running plywood especially, OSB actually allows you to cheat it quite a bit because OSB doesn't have a grain pattern like plywood does. Plywood has the grain running this way, then this way, then this way, then this way, then this way, however many layers it is, right? OSB has just a whole bunch of chips in it, and then it's glued together. So it's a lot, I wouldn't say stronger, but it has different properties to it. Anyways, doesn't matter. The reason why we can do it this way is because we're doing it on the underside of the ladder box. And it being the underside of the ladder box, it doesn't need the same structural properties that it does if we were capping it. So since it's going to be on the underside, it doesn't matter. The second reason, or the main reason that we did it this way, is because we wanted to use the square edge of our sheets to square up our ladder box the best we could. So we did run a tape measure from corner to corner and from corner to corner until we had the same measurement on both tape measures. That's how you know it's square. That's how you would normally do it anyways, or that's an easy way to do it, I should say. And then we held it there and then laid on our sheets. But it can move because we didn't have it staked to the ground or anything. So normally, like if we were on a site somewhere and we had no flat space to try to make our ladder box, we would stake into the ground, lift this up, make it level, and then square it after and then sheet it. But this is a good way to cheat it, is you can just put your OSB on it, and then since the OSB is square, or usually square, so normally you also want to check to make sure that your sheet is square so that you could square your ladder box. You will see that when we go to cap it with the tongue and groove subfloor, that we use this method. We go perpendicular to the joist. So we took a full sheet, then we put another sheet, cut it off, put a full sheet here, and then took this cut off and put it here. And then it's strong. It's much easier to square it if we go this way. So we did that on the other side, put in the insulation, and then the next step you'll see us do this, where it would have been a little more difficult to square it with just the small edge and small edge instead of a small edge, big edge, and small edge. I hope that makes sense.
So basically our stilts, our 4x4s are going to fit right in there. You just kind of just plunge cut them out, similar to this, and then you just knock them out and you're good to go. Where do you want windows? Where do you want the door? Right in the middle.
Yeah.
Window.
Window.
Here? Okay. So this is 4 feet here, so this is going to be your beginning coop. Okay, so we got our first walls, and this way we're doing it, this is the bottom of the wall. Built it skeleton style, just like a normal wall. And then here you put your expansion joint in the middle. This is going to get sheeted with the rim board, so that's why we have that like that. And built it the sort of not the wrong way, but like this is where it's going, so we'll just have to turn it around, but that's not a big deal. Joel's just going to sheet this up while we start marking out for the plates for the next wall here. Do you think we're going to need to use hurricane straps on this? No. I think so. I'm just kidding. So Joel and Jakota and I used to be the labor force of a crew. It used to be us three, and then the boss man, who's still our friend, by the way. He does framing still, but kind of more relaxed. He could have retired a while ago, but he's kind of just chilling. He's a little older than us by about like 7 years or something like that. He's done well for himself, but he still hires us every once in a while to do this kind of work. Anyways, that's just a tidbit of factual, maybe intrigue, maybe useless information. Okay, so now we're going to stand this skeleton wall. It's not even fully framed in. We don't know where our cripples are going to go, which is what's going to hold that window that's right over there. Normally you would sheet an outside wall before you stand it up, but not always. In this case, we're not. And the reason why we're not is because this is a really small floor, and we want our walls to remain square and true. And to do that, you got to use bracing, such as that piece right there. And we had one up here, but we knocked it off because we wanted to build this wall on the floor. So to be able to stand the wall and secure it in place, we can't sheet it because this sheeting on here is going to overlap this wall here. So we're just going to sheet it after. So if you're a framer, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not, then you don't know what I'm talking about. But hopefully I am okay at explaining things. So we're just going to stand the skeleton before sheeting it because it's easier in this instance. But usually you would sheet it. But usually you have a way bigger floor than this. And this is going to be a heavy wall with sheets on it to lift from the ground. Anyways, I digress. I hope that's the right word. Okay, so we've decided, just because of for ease, that we are going to stick frame. Well, everything is just stick frame, so just the skeleton frame, rather than putting on our sheeting here, which is what we did on the back wall. And that's just because we want everything to be nice and square, and it'll be easier for us to make it all square if we do it after, just because of the way that it ties together. And then our interior wall there, we'll put our very top plate on it to tie everything together, and it should hold everything nice and tight without the need of a whole bunch of braces. So in a house, usually it's way bigger than this, and you can do this a little differently. You could sheet everything. There's certain walls that you don't do right away. I don't know how to explain it very well, but here, I'm sure there's a way that we could have sheeted it all, but this is just how we're doing it. Everything's elevated and stuff. It's just a pain because we don't have any flat spots to square the wall and all that jazz. It's a little difficult. Okay, they're ready for me, so I'm gonna go do it now. Okay, so it started raining, so we're gonna stop now because I don't know if you can tell, but it's raining pretty good. But we got it all stood together and it's braced where it needs to be, which is just there. It's all tied together, so it's actually fine if it just has the two braces on either side of the one wall back there. All good, doesn't matter. Tomorrow's another day, so we'll get back at it tomorrow, probably. Alright, next day. So we didn't get too much done yesterday. We only got 4 hours in and then it started raining. It started kind of late, which was kind of a mistake, but you know, it was Ashley's birthday, so we were trying to have some fun and stuff. Today, rain in the forecast all day. So I'm doing this with Ashley today. No help today because it's no sense everyone coming out and then having to stop. So since it's clear right now, we're going to start. So we're going to do some of the easier stuff today, because Ashley has no experience in construction and may as well get all the easy stuff out of the way so that, you know, the things that I need help with from Dakota or Joel, I'll be able to have that, because you can kind of communicate without even saying words when you both know what you're doing. So we're going to add in some bracing on the stilts. We're actually going to add some more stilts. We just are waiting to know where the chicken run entrance is going to be, and then I'm going to put the stilts in there. I just want it to be aesthetically nice. What else are we going to do? We're going to try to put in the windows, so we have a spot for that, and then we'll or not the windows, but the window openings, and then we're going to sheet it, then we'll cut out the windows, and then we'll put in the window, sort of thing. You'll see. You'll see. I'll try to explain things as I go. I think what we'll start on is the interior wall, because we know that's going to be simple. It's an easy wall to build. So that's probably what we'll start on first. Alright, got the inside wall in. I'm a little close to it to be able to tell. We didn't PL the inside wall. You don't necessarily PL inside walls. You can, but it's not necessary. And we're keeping the doors at the same height, even though we're keeping a threshold. So in here's where the chickens are going to be housed. We don't want to have the sawdust or whatever it's called. What is it called?
Wood shavings?
Wood shavings, yeah. Sorry, I guess sawdust, wood shavings, same thing. We don't want it going out of the housing area into that area, which is going to be like the storage area. So what we're going to do when we get the doors, we're just going to cut the bottom off so they both look like they're at the same height, but they are not the same size, sort of thing. Now we're going to worry about this wall here. We're going to put in the cripple for the windows and stuff, and then we have to try to figure out how to brace the two parallel outside walls, these two skeleton walls, that way, so that we can actually have them square, because right now everything is leaning this way and we can't have that. Sill, jack. Those are huge jacks. That's okay. All right. Not wearing my belt. I'm gonna keep that in there. All right, so we got her framed. So doorway, obviously, and another doorway going through there. We got 2 windows on either side, and those are basically these here. They're like place in for sheds and, like, you know, builds like this. Basically you kind of just get them. They're $50, super cheap. This is a chicken coop, so you don't have to have vapor barrier or anything like that. We're gonna insulate it. Lots of people don't insulate it. In fact, that one there is not insulated except for the floor. For whatever reason, you insulate the floor, I guess because it's raised, which makes sense. In a house, if you have it raised like that, you would insulate it and you would vapor barrier it. But for a chicken coop, any sort of livestock thing, you don't need to do any vapor barrier. That remains to be seen if I'm right or wrong, but hopefully I'm right. All right, let's see, what do we have here? So we got a window up there, chicken run door here, another chicken run door right there. That side is going to be the introductory and hospital pen, I guess you would call it. So we don't know how many birds we're going to get. We don't know what birds are going to get injured or not. We don't necessarily want to take the chance of having to make another solitary coop or whatever. So we're doing everything all at once. So one of our birds, she broke her beak, like the tip broke off, Sunny's did. So she got picked on quite a bit by the other birds just because. She's number 2 in the pecking order, but at that time she was at the bottom. So when that kind of stuff happens, we'll put them in this little coop over here, and then when they get better, or
they can still see each other.
Yeah, right. Ashley just said they'll still be able to see each other, so they won't lose their communication or whatever, because they're communal birds. They're really smart. They're really cool, actually. So we want this all to be nice. So what we're going to try to do now is brace the walls that way. So the house here is leaning this way. We're going to try to lean it back that way to square, or to straight, basically. So to level. What am I trying to say? To level, right. And then maybe we'll try to start sheeting it. I don't know. We'll give it a shot. Ashley's never done this before. She's done a little bit here. She's kind of learning. So we'll figure it out as we go. The weather was sunny for a bit, but now it's getting gloomy again, so hopefully it's still good for a while. Okay, so how we do that is we put in our bracing stringers, which we have right here. We have that, and it's nailed to the top so that it'll push on the top plate. And then we have a block nailed into a joist. There's a joist here, so I have it nailed into the joist. I'm going to take my nail bar and I'm going to crank it, which is going to push the top of the wall out, and then Ashley's going to hold level, or she's going to tell me when it's level by holding the level against the studs. Then I'm going to nail this brace into this block, and that should hold it into place. Sometimes all you have to do is just do a little push. Sometimes you need several people pushing on the wall. This is really small, and it's 2x4 wall, and there's no sheeting on it, so it's not that heavy. It's still pretty heavy, but we should be able to do it with just the two of us. We're gonna give it a shot anyways.
Pretty darn close. There's, oh.
Too far?
Oh yeah, a little too far.
Okay. Does that settle back?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, good. Okay, so we actually only needed one brace to put it back into square, like to move the whole wall. But we did put another one just to hold it so that it doesn't move. And then we also put two here, one here, and one there, so that we could remove the ones on the outside of the wall so that we can sheet it. So now, if you're driving by a construction site, you'll know why some of the houses look like a game of Kerplunk. It's bracing so that they can hold it square so that they can continue on. Sometimes you'll notice like garages are like they're staked into the ground and all sorts of things because they don't have a floor necessarily to nail to. That is why. Bracing, so that everything is held true, or as true as possible anyways. So in this case it was very easy. We only needed to do it with one, and everything else we held together. It's all good. So now we're going to knock off those outside braces and start sheeting. Before we start sheeting the outside, oh, and it's starting to rain, we have to insulate these C's here. And before that, still we got to put on the top plates, and that will help also hold everything together a little better. So you can see that it only has the top plate. We need the very top plate. We're going to tie that wall that goes this way onto the top of this plate here, and it kind of just overlaps it and it holds it strong together. That's the point of the very top plate. Some people argue that it also makes the wall stronger for holding the roof, but I don't know if that's actually a thing. It could be. I don't know. I don't know everything, so I don't want to say yes or no to that, but some people do argue that it makes it stronger. I guess it would. I guess it would. I don't know. So next time you see this, top plates, and then we're going to start sheeting. But it's raining, so hopefully not, but yeah, should be good. Okay, so everything is overlapped and looks good. So the wall here overlaps this wall because this wall travels all the way through, so it kind of ties it together. Same with right here. All right, got all the very top plates on. Now, depending on who you are, your method, or what the package is or whatever, you would put on your very top plates with the wall before you stood them. I'm not actually sure why we didn't do that, but we didn't. But they're up now, so now I'm ready for sheeting. But I don't know if you can tell, it started to rain, so we're gonna go take a break, and hopefully it clears up. But apparently it's supposed to rain all day. We'll see. Okay, done. Got the very top plates on there. So depending on who you are, your method, the package, there's different factors that lean into this sort of thing. But you may put your very top plate on before you actually stand the wall, and then you still have them tied together. You just have all your overlaps and stuff. I'm not sure why we didn't do that yesterday. I think I meant to, and I just didn't. Doesn't matter. It's all up now. If this was a house and stuff, you'd put your poly up there in between the top plate and the very top plate so that you could tie it in easier with the rest. This is going to be a vaulted ceiling, so it would be different, sort of. There's certain things. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. If you've built a house or had a house built for you, then maybe you've seen that. This is good. So it started to rain now. So we decided to take a break. I don't know if you can tell, but it's kind of gray out. So we're going to take a break and then come back out after it stopped raining to start sheeting. Hopefully it does. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We're hoping that it will stop raining, but who knows. You know what's funny though? Chakota had this funny idea of making our coop look like a KFC. Okay, so it stopped raining, which is good. So we're going to get back to it. I'm going to start sheeting. We're going to start sheeting from the bottom and then go work our way up. So we have here stopping at the bottom, and then we're going to coat this. We're going to take these kicker plates off. That was just to hold the wall from falling off, basically. So we're going to take that off. Sheet here, we'll have an expansion joint here, just like we do there. Expansion joint is just because the wood moves and stuff, right? And like when it shrinks, you don't want the sheets touching and then getting all mashed up. So we're going to start on this side. We're going to sheet everything. We're not going to pre-cut out any of the windows. We're going to drill them out after, and then it'll be good. Alright, now while Ashley finishes up here in the back sheeting, I'm going to show you a little trick on how to cut out windows and doors and stuff like that. And all you're going to need is a regular impact and a screw. So I have a window here that I want to cut out, and I have a window here that I want to cut out. And you're basically going to take your screw, put it in the corner. It works a lot better if you have a longer bit, but I don't have a longer bit. So just keep it about 1/8 and 1/8 away, because you're going in at an angle, and that's going to compensate and bring you to where you want to be, if that makes sense. So you want to put one in all 4 corners. In this case, we have a expansion gap here. Doesn't matter. Just ignore that as if it's not there. Then you're going to take your chalk line, put it on your first screw, bring it over to your second screw, snap that line, bring it down to your next screw down here, snap that line, bring it down to your next screw over here, snap that line, and then bring it up to your last and first screw and snap a line. In this case, it happens to be on a factory line, but that's okay. Make sure that you take out your screws before you start cutting with your saw, because you will screw up your saw blade. So that's your guide. Cut out the window, and then you should be able to pop in your factory or custom window. Now if The Rock was here, he'd probably use the people's elbow to knock it out. It works perfect. We should be able to pop in our window now. Like so, and like so. We're gonna get the trim around these little whatever run doors. I don't know what to call them. It's gonna match these windows here as well. So it's gonna be white. We're gonna get some sort of siding. We're not sure exactly what we're gonna do yet. But today we did pretty good. Ashley did great for having 0 experience. Yeah, we didn't get everything done that we wanted to, because we were going to do the cross bracing on the stilts, and we were going to add another stilt in there that's going to have a double functionality: A, holding up the actual structure, and B, it's going to hold the ramps and stuff, or we're going to use it to screw stuff to. We don't actually need to add any extra stilts. This is actually fine. This is really strong. It's probably a good idea to add in the cross bracing, just to add the stability so that you can't rock it back and forth so easily or anything like that. But we're going to add an extra stilt in there just for peace of mind. I like to over-engineer stuff. But we're going to quit for the night, because I don't know if you can tell. Maybe not. Might be able to hear that thunder. Yeah, it's raining. Big surprise. And also we saw snowflakes earlier. So yeah, snow in freaking August. Happy birthday. So basically that's it for this time around. Probably gonna wait for Dakota or Joel or both of them or someone else to help me put the roof on. I can't do that by myself. We gotta think of how we're going to do it. We're not exactly sure. We might just hand bomb everything. Who knows? We'll see. Thanks for checking us out. This is hilarious.
We don't have a plunger. I was actually thinking the other day, we need a plunger.
You did need a plunger?
Yeah, we don't have one. Come on. That's the mosquito one. Oh, this is nice. Are these the soaps we bought at opening?
One I bought at Julia's, the dark one.